The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Kenai Peninsula, Alaska, job number 30543. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Here are some images to get a perspective of where things are located. Then we'll break down individually the components of your new apparatus. Let's go ahead and start with the front bumper of your apparatus. Starting at the base, you have two open-ended chrome tow hooks. Moving to the center is your attachment point, 2x2 inch, and also an electronic attachment point for a winch. Moving just up onto the bumper, you'll find right and left dual air horns. Moving to the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren. Moving up onto the bumper, you'll find a closed storage bin, tubbed hose storage for a pre-connected hose. In addition, on the bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the body, you'll find two emergency warning lights forward facing. On the outer edges, you'll find two turn marker lights. Moving just to the inside where the headlight cluster, the high beams are on the inner beam and the low beam on the outer section. Moving up to the next set, which is the cluster above the headlights, you'll find your right and left turn indicators. Moving just inward from that location of those turn indicators, you'll find an additional set of emergency lights. Moving up onto the top windshield, 3 windshield wipers across your seamless one-piece windshield, and on the outer edges, your mirrors, you have a flat section, and then at the top, a convex section. Moving forward, you have a forward-facing flood LED light. Moving up to the very top, you'll find your full-width light bar. Located just in the center, you'll find your opticom. Let's take a look at some close-ups here of those images that we just talked about. First, starting with the headlight cluster and also the warning light and turn indicator. Also located just up from this location on the A-pillar driver's side, you'll find the vehicle's VIN number. Looking at the mirrors, lower section is flat, upper section is convexed, all controlled from within inside the cab. Mechanical siren at the very bottom, the air horn. Located in the center, tubbed airage storage. This is going to be, when it's opened, you'll find access for hose storage in addition with a discharge port. Let's go ahead and look just back underneath the very front of the apparatus. Once again, this is going to be your winch application center. This is a 10,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating, and the red cover is removable to gain access to 12 volt. Looking on the side of the bumper, you'll find on the right and left an emergency warning light. Let's go ahead and break down some of the components here within the side section of the cab. This is the driver's side. First, let's start down in the lower section. You'll find a step light at all points of entry. In addition, in the very front section only, you'll find your air inlet. Moving up from that location, you'll find keyed entry points for the latches. Moving over, you'll find at all points of entry of the cab, additional hand railing. You'll also find on the right and also on the passenger side, this bullet style side-facing camera. You'll find your auto eject shore power plug. Just up from that, you'll find your battery when plugged into shore power indicator. Moving up to the top of the apparatus, you'll find this cab side-facing scene light. And then moving all the way to the very back on the passenger side and also driver's side, you'll find a tank indicator for the water level. Here's an image of that air inlet. Down at the base, Alcoa wheels, you'll find also the Stemco seal here for your hub seal. Here is a close-up of the camera, your 20 amp shore inlet, and also the battery charger system. At the very top, you'll find that LED flood. And moving to the back, you'll find a indicator here for the level of your tank. Let's go ahead and take a look generally here at the side of the apparatus. Let's start with the midsection of the cab, and we'll talk about some of the components here. As you can see, the through component, or the through compartment here that has the mesh webbing. We'll talk about removing that and then also what's behind it. Let's start first with this entanglement hazard warning regarding secure hose and other equipment before placing the vehicle into motion. At the very top, you'll find in yellow, which also is foam and water, number 1 crosslay. In the red, you'll find the number 2 crosslay, and all the way to the very back section of this, you'll find your 2.5-inch crosslay. Each of these have the capability of water and foam. To release this, there is a latching mechanism here similar to a seatbelt. Release that and it will allow you to gain access by lifting up on the netting here. Let's talk at the very top of this section. Bottom of this section, you'll find individual hose storage locations. All of these can be removed. At the very top, you'll find additional access ports here for long tools. As you can see, a 6-foot tool located in one of those slots. To remove those storage bins, you're going to go ahead and just depress this latch, allowing it to pull out. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner here of the section of the pump. You'll find first a discharge 2.5-inch. You'll also find the auxiliary foam inlet. Moving up to the very top, you're going to find behind the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo, this is your large diameter intake. And at the very top, because of that intake being electronic, there is an override for that. Let's move down to an additional 2.5-inch discharge port here. And as we move further down, you'll find this a warning here near ports, and they are indicating that ports could be, or caps should be under pressure, and be cautious when opening them. On the right, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, and down below, you'll find all of this discharge drains associated with each one of those discharge ports. You'll also find at the very bottom of your pump, it is fully enclosed. There are access points to gain entry and moving that pan, and there's also a fold-out step here to expand that step. Simply unlatch the latch, allowing it to unfold from the hinge side, and allows you to gain more step area. As you can see here underneath the actual pump, you can see it's fully enclosed, and those are the handles to remove those. Generalized view here of the side of the apparatus. Let's start with some of the components down at the very bottom. First, let's start with this area on both sides of your vehicle. This is where the folding wheel chock is stored, and you can just see the very tip of it. This is going to be your automatic chains underneath, and we'll have a better image of those here. These are controlled from within inside the cab, and there are limitations to those, so please read up on the use of those chains. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. Just where the rear tire is located, you'll find 2 compartment doors here. These small compartments here offer the ability to hold bottle storage. There is a top storage location and then also straps for bottle storage. In the rear section, you'll find 1 bottle storage in addition with your diesel fill and also your DEF fill. To the rear wheel, you'll find an additional storage location for folding wheel chock, and also once again a access point or attachment point here for your winch. There's also a maximum allowable rating on that, which is marked. At the very top, you'll find side-facing floods and also scene lights and a grab handwheel. We're going to talk about what's behind this roll-up door next, and then we'll talk about some of the components. Let's start at the very top of this compartment. This is your pump housing. At the very top, that light indicates if your pump is properly engaged, and then you'll see a set of switches on the left. Let's talk about those switches real quick. First, these switches offer the driver's side flood, passenger side floodlight, the pump compartment heater, and the pump compartment heater on the other side of the pump. In addition, within the red switch here, this is your air horn. Let's move back up to the top here. This is once again, the light that indicates your pump is properly engaged. From there, we'll start on the left. These are going to be your Husky foam system instructions and also specifications. And you also have a panel gauge heater located here, which you can will turn on automatically. You have a foam A tank, which is currently indicating empty. We'll move to the right. We have the master intake in the gray area, master discharge, and then also the test ports. The test ports are located at the very bottom. They're for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged. Let's move up to the upper right-hand corner. This is an amber light if you have a PCM fault. And just beneath that, you'll have a audible speaker here which does have the ability to damper that sound level. Let's move all the way to the right-hand side. You'll find your Pierce maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSIs and the associated RPMs for those. And this is information here regarding your owner's manual and the use of it. Let's start in the upper or lower left-hand corner rather. This is going to be the front discharge, which we talked about earlier. This is also a foam CAFS system discharge. And as we move to the right, you'll find the number 1 cross lay in yellow. Moving further right, number 2 cross lay. Once again, all of these, and you can see at the very bottom, has the CAFS switch, and in green, the 2.5-inch cross lay. All the way to the right, you'll find the passenger rear discharge, and also at the lower section is that CAFS switch also to activate. Up in the right, this is going to be your primer for the fire pump. It's a push to prime. There are also some instructions just beneath that primer, which offers you at least 1,000 RPMs prior to engaging that. There are also some electronic valves, and we'll talk about those in the next set of images here. And to the right-hand side, this is going to be your Pierce throttle governor here for pressure and volume, and for pressure and throttle. And you also have just beneath that a closed open indicator for your tank inlet. You'll also find the tank fill recirculating and also the tank to pump. Located in this area, you're going to find a variety of different electronic valves, all clearly labeled. These are Akron valves, and to the right, you'll find your compressor here for the CAFS system. This is a Hercules system. It's in blue. It's got an a digital readout here, which you can see for your airflow, and it also has air pressure and also oil temps, and there's also some warning lights. Let's move up to the upper right-hand corner in the red. This is going to be your foam system also. This is your percentages and how you choose to utilize your foam system. To the right, your deluge. And then we'll move all the way down to the very bottom section. These are going to be all the drains associated, clearly marked for what those apply. The round ones are going to be twist, not pulls. And then you'll find this access door. Behind the access door itself, we'll talk about that in the next set of images. Let's look inside the access door. First, in the lower section here, this is going to be your manual pump shift override. It's a protected switch, and it also has an amber light. At the very top, you're going to find your foam handle, horizontal, and there's instructions on the left. The horizontal position is for operation, and we're going to fill it. We're going to move it to the vertical position. In that compartment also, you'll find an adjustable shelf at the very top, and then a section of drawers, which are latched. To access those, simply lift the silver portion here, which will allow you to gain access into those drawers. We're going to go through some of the compartments here as we move back. This is going to be over the rear wheel. This is a roll-up door also. As we look inside, you can see there are adjustable shelvings, but currently there are 4 SCBA pack holders in this spot. We'll move to the very rear section of the apparatus, and behind this roll-up door, you'll find once again interior lighting, and you're also going to find 2 adjustable shelves, and the very bottom shelf is a rollout type shelf. And to access that, on the right-hand side, you'll find a latch. Simply press down on that black latch. That will allow the drawer or shelf to pull outward. Here it is in its full configuration outward. To push it back in, simply depress that latch, restore it to its original position. Let's move to the back of the apparatus. You'll find once again backup perimeter lighting underneath your apparatus. As we move up onto the top, in the center, you'll see a tow hitch or an attachment point here. Moving up, you'll find the tail clusters. This is going to be your brake, backup, turn, and emergency light. And then you also have a set of just backup lights here. Moving up onto the left-hand side, you'll find a variety of steps staggered up to the very top of the apparatus. There are also lights for those steps for nighttime access. This is the switch to activate those lights. Let's move up a little bit further. We're going to get more in depth in this section here as we go through. But you'll also find emergency lights and also just scene lights that are pointing backwards here so that you have easy access. Located in the center also, you'll find an intake. This is a 2.5-inch. Moving upward, you're going to find your reverse camera or backup camera. All the way to the very top, you'll find your traffic advisor. And as we're indicating now, this is the same on the side. This is your tank indicator level. You'll also find a 2.5-inch discharge port back here. This is going to be your rear discharge. And there are also some labels back here for warning regarding pressurized caps and also for riding on an apparatus. There are plenty of grab handles back in the rear of the apparatus. Take a look at those. As we move also to the right-hand side, this large cap is going to be a large diameter intake. As we move up, you'll find behind this compartment is your ladder storage location. And as we move subsequently up into those next compartments, you'll find additional tool storage. On the right, you'll find a backup or a scene light in the very back here. And we're going to go ahead and cover some of those compartments here in just a few moments as we go through those. Let's go ahead and take a look underneath the apparatus. You can see those two lights at the very bottom, perimeter lighting, and you can also see in the very center that attachment point. At the very top, you can see the step lighting and additional step and the grab rails on the left and right to gain access to the top of the cab. There are also fold down steps here, which you can also see have step lighting. Let's go ahead and take a look once again in the center. On the left-hand side, in this silver area, you're going to find the tank fill. This is an intake. There is an override because it's an electronic valve located at the pump panel. And then on this side, you'll find the passenger rear discharge. Once again, foam capable also. That's a 2.5 inch. This is going to be the tank indicator for the amount of water that you have in the vehicle. And located in the center, you'll find your backup or reverse camera. The smaller lights below are running lights. At the very top, you'll find your traffic advisor and also a warning label regarding entanglement. Let's go ahead and look behind the center compartment here with the department logo on it. Once we open this compartment roll-up door, we'll find at the very top an adjustable shelf, interior lighting, and also once again a pull-out shelf. That shelf is accessed on the right-hand side by depressing this lever. Now it's in the full outright position or extended position. To restore it, push that lever down, restore it back to its original position. This is going to be your rear inlet. Once again, an electronic valve controlled from the pump panel. We'll go ahead and talk about each individual compartment here in the next set of images. But first, this is a long compartment all the way toward the front of the bulkhead. My assumption is for this storage compartment would be board storage for EMS boards. And as we look down to the compartment just beneath that upper long compartment, we'll find additional tool storage, 10-foot attic ladder, an 8-foot trash, and also a 10-foot hook. Located in the ladder compartment here, once we access this, you'll find a 24-foot two-section ladder, and you'll also find a 14-foot roof ladder. We're now looking at that rear scene light or work light. And we'll go ahead and move all the way up to the top of the apparatus. As you can see, you have a fully enclosed diamond-plated hose bed cover. There are handles here for grabbing onto, for gaining access, and there are also perimeter tape around the exterior edge for nighttime vision so that you don't walk off the edge for safety. There are also on each side, you have additional storage locations that are covered. At the very top here, you'll find this is your CAF system motor pump, and then you also have two work lights, fill tank for water, and also foam fill for foam A. This is your compressor here. Moving off to the right, this is going to be your crossfire, your deluge located down on the panel. As we look to the very cab, you'll see the two on the outer edges. This is a warning for it's a slippery area, not to step in this area. Generalized view here, looking from the front of the cab toward the back, and we'll take a look at each one of those side compartments also. Those compartments on the top also have interior lighting in them. And then once again, you can see the perimeter tape here to assist firefighters for safety purposes. You can see now that the doors are in the open position for your hose bed. You also have an adjustable hose bed for the different sizes of hose. We're now looking at the side of the apparatus. This is the passenger side. Let's look to the rear. You're going to find the same configuration as the opposite side, 12-volt access for your winch and also the location for attachment. But you're also going to find the rear inlet air bleed. This is for that back electric intake. At the very top, you're going to find scene and floodlights. And then we'll move to this section here. Same configuration as the other side, slightly different. These are both going to be bottle storage locations behind the compartment here, and also in the front you'll find bottle storage up to 2 SCBA bottles or 3 SCBA bottles in some of the compartments. They also have interior straps here to help assist in holding those bottles so that they don't shift while in movement. In the center you'll find a mid-section emergency light, and same configuration here in this compartment for bottle storage. Let's go ahead and look just lower from this position. You're going to find this warning label here regarding extremely hot exhaust temperatures. Be cautious in where you park. We'll start now with the rear compartments behind this roll-up door. Similar configuration as to the other side. We do have an adjustable shelf on the top section, and also on the bottom a pull-out style shelf. You can also see here the 9,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating. That sticker's also on the driver's side. Mid compartment here, you're going to find additional tool storage. To gain access, there was a latch at the very front. Open that. To restore this back to its original position, there is a pin here that you lift up to put it back to its original position. This shelf is adjustable front to back, so you can mount tools on the front and on the back. Located in the next compartment moving forward, we'll find 2 adjustable shelves, interior lighting, and also this pull-out shelf. Same mechanism for opening and closing. Let's take a look underneath the vehicle. This is going to be those 2 sections for compartment heat. This is the closed sections here. Those are the handles for them. There are also the 2 on each side black knobs to release that under section. Generalized view here, the mid section is what we're going to focus on next. Same through compartments here with that webbing. Let's start down low. This is going to be your water strainer. As we move to the right, you'll find, because this is an electronic valve, you'll find the override for that located here. We're also going to find, once again, that warning for entanglement hazard. And as we move up to the very top, same 2.5 inch number 2 crosslay, number 1 crosslay. Once again, hazard, or warning I should say, regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with that. And this is also your cab lift, and make sure you follow the instructions on that in securing items. Down below you'll find the large diameter intake Pierce logo here with the American flag eagle. And to the right we're going to find a discharge port here with, again, an override located just beneath it. In the upper section, once again, this is that through compartment to the driver's side. Same configuration, and the same on this side also. Once again, to remove those speed lays, simply lift this, allows that speed lay to be removed. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but this is the override associated with the orange discharge and also your large diameter discharge. The override for that is just beneath that, or right next to it here. You're also going to find an auxiliary 2.5 inch intake on the left. Once again, 2.5 inch. And at the very bottom, you'll find all the associated drains. And on the very far left of that, you'll find an additional drain. Once again, that's a twist, not a pull. Same step configuration as far as making it reveal more space. This is your cab lift. General view here of this section of your cab. Same components for the most part on this side, with your water level indicator on this side for easy visual identification. Moving forward, you also have a side-facing floodlight on this side. And as we move forward to the handle here, you'll find that bullet style, and also your grab handle and door latch. Once again, I forgot to mention your vehicle is equipped with TAC4 suspension. Located on all points of entry of all the doors, you'll find additional warning labels regarding the use of seat belts and other associated hazards. And also on the seat, you'll find this additional hazard label. Let's go ahead and look down at the very bottom, where we'll find some additional hazard and warning labels, but let's focus in on this label here, the yellow one. This is going to offer information here regarding your apparatus with the date of manufacture, the job number associated with this vehicle. It's also going to offer gross vehicle weight ratings. It's going to have cold tire inflation pressures. It's also going to have an additional location here for your VIN, which is also, once again, on the A-pillar driver's side. And then the lower section here is also going to account for all of the fluid capacities, the types of fluid and also the component, and once again, fluid types. So very helpful information in this area. Underneath the seat, you'll find comfort controls. As we move forward into this section here, we're going to focus up in the upper left-hand corner, and we'll talk about those components next. First, let's start at the very top with the battery switch, quarter turn on the silver. You'll also find your tech module and also the engine transmission ABS diagnostic port. Moving down, you're going to find these 2 or 4 switches, I should say, for ABS diagnostics. You're going to find your DPF regen switch, your engine diagnostics, and also the regen inhibit. And then at the very bottom in black, you'll find the display port. Just up from this location here above those components we just talked about, you're going to find your pump pressure digital readout. You're also going to find helpful information here regarding the water tank and also your foam tank. These are 2 indicators for both of those tanks. Let's go ahead and now move once again to the opposite side of the steering column. Same about knee height for the operator, and we're going to find these set of switches. This is your stationary OK to pump and rolling. It's an indicator switch. You're going to find your water pump, foam system, your CAFs, moose light, and also your load manager. We're going to go ahead and once again move upward from this location. Just to the right, you're going to find the mirror controls here. The very top one is going to be left and right for the flat mirror, and in the very bottom, once again, left and right for the convex mirror. Here's a generalized view overhead, both operator and passenger. Let's talk about the components on the dash. First, starting with your, once the battery is on, you can go ahead and hit the ignition and then go ahead and push the start. There should be somewhat of a delay while it does a system check. And we'll look on the right-hand side for the emergency master and all your headlight controls. On the right, you'll find that high idle OK indicator and also the switch for high idle. As we move general components here for the dash, first transmission, oil, DEF level, and water. You have a tachometer and miles per hour or RPMs, both of those in the very center. And moving to the right, you have your volts, fuel, front and rear air. And then you also have some helpful information here in the center and at the very top regarding readouts. Let's go ahead and move just to the right of the operator, and we'll talk about the very top of these components. This is going to be your Pierce Information Center. A tremendous amount of information can be gathered from this, and then just beneath that, you'll find a set of switches here. We'll talk about those switches next. As we move further down, you'll find your system parking brake, and then moving to the right, this is going to be your Allison transmission pad. As we look at the transmission pads just to the right, you're going to find some information here that's helpful. It's a pump in neutral for your pump. On these set of switches, you're going to find your engine brake. It's an on-off switch. You're also going to find for the engine brake a high, medium, and low setting. You'll also find a protected switch here for your differential lock, off-road traction, your mirror heat, and you can see this cover now is covering the tire chain so they're not activated. This is your Pierce Information Center. Once again, there is a tremendous amount of information that can be gleaned from this. You also have seatbelt information located on that section also. To the right of that, you'll find your windshield wiper, push to apply the fluid, and then rotate for the speed of those. You're also going to find on the dash your climate control. And to the right, I don't have the specs on this, but this lockbox here with the blue light I'm sorry, I don't have that information. Overhead, you'll find your speaker system for your unit stereo system. And you'll also find in the very front section the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating of your vehicle. Overhead, once again, emergency master. You'll have a roof light, front warning lights, side warning lights. The next section down of switches offers the lower rear warning and the upper rear warning lights. And then you have a high beam flash. And then to the right, last is your opticom. Moving further to the right, you're going to find the air horn switch, a mechanical siren, siren brake, and your perimeter lighting. And the next set of switches down, you're going to find the front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, and then also a rear flood. Let's move just to the right again here of that same area. We're going to find this siren traffic advisor here. This is basically the rear traffic advisor, and it helps you dictate how you want to display that. Underneath, you'll find your FireCom wireless system, and then just above that, you're going to find your siren, which I mentioned kind of earlier, but this is your siren and public announcement. Located in the center here behind the unit radio, you're going to find this puck style red indicator. This is a warning indicator not to move your vehicle because you may have a compartment door open or a door ajar. Looking at the rear of the apparatus on the left, you'll find once again those warning labels. We'll look overhead, you'll find push on, push off red and white lights and also your center speakers. You can also see hanging from the ceiling your FireComm headset system. You have two rear-facing SCBA seats in this apparatus. And in the center between the two of those SCBA seats, you'll find this access door. This access door gains entry into the motor housing area, which gives you the oil and transmission. I've got an image of that here in the next set of images, but just above that, you'll also find 12-volt access for USB style. This is that access door here. Once again, transmission and oil checks are located here. There's also a light inside that compartment. Just forward of that location, you'll find this block, which is a 12-volt block for additional accessories. And as we look to the rear, you'll find two center-mounted forward-facing SCBA seats, and on the right and left, compartments with adjustable shelving, and then also that protective netting for the equipment with inside. On the right-hand side or passenger side in that compartment, you're also going to find this shore line outlet, which is basically a plug. When you're plugged into shore power, it will energize this for plugging in devices. Let's go ahead and move out of this compartment, and we'll move to the very front section. This is going to be the passenger side we're looking at now. Once again, you have those same set of warning hazard labels on the door of all points of entry. And as you look inside this cab, you'll see a variety of different components. Let's first start looking overhead. In this section here, you'll see those push on and off red and white lights. You also see your stereo system stereo speakers, and then also your FireComm headsets. You'll also find two components and a blank component space. We'll talk about those in the next set of images. Let's first move just to the front section here. This is going to be your windshield wiper fill location, and then just to the left of that is an access panel for electronics. Let's now move to the left of the person sitting in the seat at about hand or elbow height. You'll find this attachment. This is going to be push buttons here for your siren brake, your mechanical siren, and also your air horn. Once again, looking overhead, we saw this from a previous image, but once again, push on, push off red and white lights. Located just over the passenger's head, you're going to find two components. First, this is your FireComm system. This is for your radio and auxiliary squelch and volume. Moving to the left of this spot here, the next component over, this is going to be your unit stereo system. This is a Bluetooth Sirius XM CD player and also weather band. I also want to point out just again that center puck here for the red light regarding doors ajar. Congratulations, Kenai Peninsula, Alaska, on your new apparatus, job number 30543. If you have any questions for this vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales associate, or if you have any questions regarding this video, please contact Hughes Fire also. Congratulations on your new apparatus. Thank you.